Welcome back, friends. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add the ability to basically have a theme that you can save and then reload between page loads. So a graphical interface feature that's quite nice. We're going to use jQuery for this, okay? So the first option that we are going to implement is this one. I'm going to add a drop-down. Take a look. I'm going to say after the form and make sure it goes between the script manager. And I'm going to say the following here, ASP and then drop-down list. All right, make sure you set some basic attributes on this item as follows. For the ID, set the ID attribute. So type in, for example, here, theme list. And then again, I need to break this over multiple lines so it fits. All right, I'm going to stack this vertically. Okay, so theme list is one object. The next one, I'm going to say the following. Run at equals server as usual. And then we'll add a couple more. Okay, so run at equals server. And the last one will be the auto post back. So type auto and then post back, and then set that equal to true also. Remember the ID is themeless. We need that so we can access with jQuery, run at services, interactive and dynamic between page loads. And auto post back, remember when you interact with it, it's going to reload and get a fresh copy of everything from the server of the page. All right, so once we've got the basic attributes and their values on the dropdown, down below, make sure you are within the dropdown, within the opening and closing tags. You're going to have to add some list items. So you're going to type ASP colon list item. And the first one will be a color. I'm going to say azure. That's a color, light blue. Let's add one more of these. I'm going to say this time bisque or biscay. I can never tell which way to pronounce it. It doesn't matter. It's a color, right? That's all. And once we have this is our basic dropdown right here. From top to bottom with 3 attributes set to specific values. And then the list items will show us items that you can open up in the list when you click on it. So let's take a look at this. Hit Google Chrome. Let's see what we have so far. It's just the beginning, really. Okay, so notice we have a list. Yeah, I click on it, and I can have Azure, I can have Bisque. So the next stage is to shut this down and continue here. We need to continue working. All right, we've got the list, and now we need to make use of it. So scroll down to the jQuery. And think about the jQuery even before I talk maybe a little, right? How would you approach this? What might you do? Well, first of all, you got to be able to save the color somehow. The selected color, that is, the color selected in the dropdown. You got to save it to local storage. And then when you reload the page, you got to apply that color to the div, you see? That's the overlying logic here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to type as follows here, var, and I'm going to say color. And I'm going to get that from the list. I'm going to say $symbol for jQuery, double quotes. And I'm going to say here theme list, and then option colon selected. This is simply going to get the selected one. That's it. And then to get the text, remember over here in the selected item, right? Here we have Azure. That's a text. Bisque is a text. So to get those values so we can save them, type over here dot and then text. So it's a text function. Just get that value out of the dropdown and save it over to the color variable. That's it. After that, I'm going to do this. I will say, again, local storage, dot, and then set item, and then between single quotes, dv div color. That's the key, comma, and then data colon string. So I'm going to say here color. That's it. I don't have to convert anything, use JSON or anything. This will work. This is already in the right format. In other words, I can save it and I can apply it and so on, okay? Remember that highlighted line gets the value from the dropdown, saves it to the color variable, and this line right here then saves that under a key named dv-div color in local storage. And notice I have put this here over here in window dot on and then before unload. That's all. So we want things to happen right before we basically unload. That's good enough. And the next stage, of course, this is not enough, right? This is just reading it and saving it. You've got to now actually apply it, which means you got to read it back from local storage and then apply it. So down below, I will say the following. I'm going to say var, and then I'm going to say here back color. I need to read it first from local storage. So I'm going to say local storage and then dot and then get item and specify the key the item is under. So in our particular case, that's just dv div and then color. as shown. And of course, this will still not be enough because that's just reading it and into the back color variable. Last stage, as you might imagine, would be to apply it to the div. So let me do that now. I'm going to type the dollar symbol and then again just choose the div. So very similar to what you see here. Let me just copy that basically. All right, just paste that in there down below and type .css. And the only difference is I'm going to type a back color like this. I need to make sure this is applied the right way to the back color property. So I'm going to type between double quotes background and then color like that. That's just a property that you can apply in CSS. And then comma, and then the value is the one read from the back color variable. Remember this. Go into stylesheet.css. We've made a style sheet as part of this project. Over here I have background and then dash and then color. And then we've got here a colon and the word bisque. So over here now for our purposes, I've got something similar, right? CSS, background color, comma, and back color. You want it to be applied as the value that you have read from local storage between page loads. So let me build this. Okay, make sure everything works. I don't see any error messages. All right, let me head on Google Chrome here and load this up. Let's see what happens. All right, and notice that first of all, when it launches, it says Azure, and this is also already set to Azure. I'm going to do this. Okay, and it's still Azure even if I enlarge it, as you see here. I need to zoom out, it's too big. Okay, so that's Azure. Okay, I'm going to switch it to Bisque. So that's good also, working as expected. I'm going to shut this down. I want to make sure when I relaunch it, it relaunches in exactly this state. So let me shut this down. Okay, and then click on Google Chrome. And a state in this particular example really means you want to make sure that everything is consistent between page loads. In other words, all the values you have are the same ones that are reconstituted when you reload the page. And we don't have that though, because as you can see, it says Azure, but this item itself, as you can see, is Bisque. So there's a problem until I interact with it. That's not consistent. I need to fix that. So I'm going to shut this down. And the way to fix that is you want to make sure when you reload the page that the drop-down has the same value selected as you saved in it the last time when you basically shut down the page. You want the program, in other words, or the web page to remember that information. So to accomplish this, you just have to type something relatively easy. I'm going to type, again, this time, I'm going to type double quotes, all right, and then theme list, and then dots val. This will set the value that you see in the theme list drop-down list, okay? And set that to the back color, that's all. Easiest thing. It seems like a tiny fix, but take a look now. I'm going to launch the page. I'll just come up for a second here and see. All right, notice that now the actual item itself and this item here are consistent in that this is Azure in the drop-down, and the item itself is also colored Azure. Okay? And if I go over to Bisque, they're synchronized, they switch. And now I'm going to shut this down. And again, remember, I left it in Bisque, correct? In that state, for the state of the drop-down and the item itself. So when I reconstitute the page by reloading it, let's see. I want to make sure the state is preserved properly. And it is, because as you can see, when it comes back up, it's again Bisque, and this is still Bisque. And the last bit that I want to show you is nothing to do with jQuery, just to go back to the previous lesson, so to speak. I'm going to add a new record here. I make up a name. Doesn't really matter what it is, right? Just some name. Okay, and then hit insert. Switch over to 4. And remember, I showed you how to fix this so that when you delete records, you see the total sales, right, are dynamically in real time changed. That's what you would expect from a professional website. But look very carefully. When I delete Mario Rubio from the details view, look very carefully at the interface. You see the individual sales records are gone, but the total sales here are not gone. Okay, and we would like them to disappear when that whole record is removed. So that's something for you to consider fixing, okay? I'm going to shut this down. I'll put the fix in the project under lesson resources. So again, I zip all of this up and I put it under lesson resources. You can look through it carefully after you expand it and basically unzip it and look through it. And I'm going to basically make a modification to the C# file, and you can look through there. I'll put a comment, okay, to see what the solution is. And I'll see you in the next one.